What up, Suspendees? It's Ben from Suspendee Studios. So, I was thinking about doing the tutorial on how to get the sword in one gigantic part. But, I changed my mind. I realized, there's some stuff we should split out. And, what we're going to do, I'm not going to completely finish it off this lecture. But I want to show off a really cool effect. And, I've already talked to you about lerping. But what we're going to do is we're going to make it transition by first off zooming into the player. And then it's going to teleport us to the next room. It's going to zoom out. Now the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a state called transition. And you can see here if current equals state.stand, current equals state does not equal state.attack. And we're going to do and current does not equal state dot transition. So there we go. And what we're going to do during the transition thing is our player won't be able to run at all or move at all. He'll just be stuck there, but we're going to just zoom in. Now we're going to set it up to zoom in. So we can refer to the camera in here. And we're going to do in OBJ controller if first, RM room, and it does kind of depend how we're going to do this, but let's see here. Okay, so we'll say we're going to create a variable called RM next, and it's going to equal noon. And as you can see here for the view object, or for the view we created, it's 480 by 320. So what do we got to do? We're going to lerp it from 480 down to, let's see here. This is 4 to 3, so, or 16 by 9. So if we divide this by 8, this will be 60, 20. So that'll work, 60, 20. And we're going to make it so it transitions out. So over here, we're going to say if RM next does not equal noon, then we are going to set, and we're going to control the camera variable, and we're going to do set or camera. We're going to do camera set view position size. View set size, OBJ camera, width, and we're going to throw in a lerp. And by the way, you can do this over multiple lines, which is something that's really cool, so we'll do that. That'll avoid the one line stuff. I don't usually do this, but I'll do this for now. Camera get view width, because this is covering the width, and we're going to say lerp value 60.1, and and 20. So there we go. And what we're going to do is then we're going to check. Now that we're doing that, we're going to say if camera get view width. And if you want to, you can check both, but I'm just going to check width since we're affecting both of them at the same time. If camera get view width is less than or equal to 60, then we're going to do room go to RM next. Since this is persistent, we won't have to worry about this. So we're just going to set RM next to equal noon. Just remember, if you don't make this persistent, this RM next equals to noon is not going to work, because if you go to another room when you have that other object in it, it's not going to run any code after it, because it's already left. So there we go. And here in the door, we're going to say RM equals noon. We don't need this anymore. Well, actually, yeah, we do need that. And instead of doing RM go to, we're going to do obj controller.rm next equals rm, because we set the room here and we set the room here. So next thing you got to do, we're going to set obj player dot current equals obj player dot state dot transition. So we're setting it to the transition state. And just to be safe, we're going to set his sprite or his image speed to equal 0, so he stops moving, and his image index to 0, so you know he stays at 1. And that should work, or no, 0 2. So if we go ahead and we do this, it may work, it may not work. Oh, whoops, sorry about that. Remember to actually get the, we need to refer to the camera in there, so we'll do that. There we go. And if we go ahead and we do this, go in, it's not working. Well, it's the end of the tutorial, guys. Nah, just kidding, it's not the end of the tutorial. That's a little bit odd. Oh man. Oh dear. OBJ controller RM next. And we're gonna say if it does not equal noon, we're gonna do show message okay, and so if we go ahead and we touch this, so it's not even doing it. It's not even honoring it. So our obj controller dot rm next. That's obj controller. This is rm next. It should when we collide with it. And do we actually put that there? Yeah, we did. So I don't know why it's not doing that. OBJ controller show message test. Go ahead and we'll do that, and we'll see what happens. Because it should collide with it, I think. I think it should collide with it. Test. But it won't set the RM next to equal RM. That's a little bit odd. Room. Oh, wait a minute. This only runs on room start. Sorry about that, guys. Wow, that's a little bit embarrassing. So take this code we just wrote. This was supposed to go in the step event. That's shame on me for doing that, by the way. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna remove that little code. Oh. Okay, so yeah, remember, move that into the step event. Of course, we all make mistakes, guys. Now look how cool this is. We shouldn't, you shouldn't be able to move, actually. But look how nice and zoomed in it is. 320. Give me a second. 480 divided by 8. 320 divided by 8, and that's, oh, sorry, that's 40. I apologize. 40, and we'll divide that again to 30 to 20, and 30 to 20, and there we go. So you know, but it should do that, and then eventually if you get camera width center equal to RM next and RM noon. I don't know why it didn't transition us to the next room, but it should. Now, if you want to slow this down, we could do this. We're gonna make it go by a 1/5. Now, you can modify this how you want, depending on what you want the speed to be. So, if we go ahead and we go into here. Now that we've done that, what we're going to do is that for OBJ camera, we are going to set it to room, we're going to do room start. And we are going to actually reset the size of the camera, so we can modify it through room start here. Just remember, when you enter a new room, that'll happen. We're going to do 30 and 20. And all you got to do, this is very simple. If rm next equals noon, and we're going to run this in the step event, we're going to lerp him all the way to 480 by 320. Now, I would do this, by the way, actually preferred pref x and pref y, just in case we decide to set up a zooming system later on. We're going to probably want this 480, 320. Now, you don't have to set variables, but strongly suggested that you probably do pref x, pref y. And we'll make it a little bit faster since we're entering the room. Oh, nice. Take a look at this. So look how nice that is. That's a really nice transition. Now, you know, you zoom out, zoom in. It might be a little bit too fast for some people, but oh man, don't want to do that. So there we go. Now, one more thing. I don't exactly like to do this, but I'm going to do this anyways. We're going to make it so it zooms, or you know the fade in, fade out effect, where, you know, it all fades to dark, or it fades from dark, you know, to being able to see. That's what we're going to do here. So we're going to do alpha equals 0. Now, we're not going to affect the actual image alpha of the OBJ camera, but you can, because you can't really, it doesn't really matter about the object. It matters, it's just holding technically the reference to the camera. We're going to do draw alpha plus equals, and draw alpha plus equals 0.02. And remember, if the alpha of an object or of an image is 1, you can fully see it. If it's 0, you can't see it at all. So draw rectangle color 0, 0, 0. Oh no, 0, 0 room with room height, and that'll cover the entire room. It'll be C black, C black, C black, C black, and C black. By the way, the reason why you have to throw in 5 colors, this actually makes a gradient. You know, the hue effect in Paint and Photoshop, that's what it is. And I'll go ahead and I'll show that off later, but it looks like, by the way, it looks like it wants draw rectangle color ext, right? Draw rectangle. Give me a second. Draw rectangle. There should be a draw rectangle color, or draw rectangle. There's supposed to be a draw rectangle ext. You know, there's draw sprite ext and stuff. You know what? We'll go back to doing draw rectangle and color. Now we're going to do set alpha, and what this will do is that anything drawn after this is going to be set to whatever variable you set to this, and we're going to want to set it back to 1. I guess because of that, we're going to have to do this, but if you set this to 0.5, everything in the room, every single object is going to be half as visible, every single object is going to be half as visible. No, every single object is going to be half as visible, as it should be. And this basically globally changes the alpha, but because of the there's no draw rectangle ext, we can't do that. So alpha minus equals to 0.02. Now if we go ahead and we set alpha to equal 1, and we set this to here, if we walk into here, you can see here it fades out. Now if we want to do, for example, a room transition, we could do that as well. So we can say if obj player dot current dot current does not equal obj player dot current dot state dot transition. So if it doesn't equal transition, then we're going to fade out. We're going to say if alpha is less than 0, or if is alpha greater than 0. So it's going to go from 1. Now remember, when alpha is equal to 1, the rectangle will be fully visible, and eventually it'll go down and go down and go down. What we're going to do here is we're going to say if alpha is less than 1, we're going to do plus equals 0.02, and it's going to do that. So now it may be fast, it may be slow. There's a couple of ways. So if we walk into here, there we go. Now, if depending on how you want transitions to work, if you want them to go to the next room, we can go into the next room if, for example, the alpha of the camera is fully opaque. So if we say if alpha is greater than or equal to 1, remember we have to refer to the variable in obj camera, then room go to rm next, and rm next equals noon. So you can see here, we go into here, there we go. Now there isn't really a transition. This doesn't really throw you into a room. Now the cool thing about rooms is that if it does equal noon, it used to crash the game because it didn't exist. Now it doesn't. So you can see here if we walk into here. Now we may want to make this slightly more accessible. We're going to make it a little bit more accessible, guys. And of course we're going to continue this in the next lecture, but just to do this first, creation code, rm equals rm world, and there we go. And this is just to demonstrate the transition thing, so we don't have to, keep on exiting out. If we walk into here, it should set the rm next to last y. Oh yeah, we didn't set the last y. Step. If last x is not 0 and last y is not equal to 0. Reason why is because by default the obj door object that we're reusing, last x and last y is 0. So it's actually resetting it when we go into that room. So if we walk out of here, you can see here doing that. Now that is a little bit weird. Shouldn't do that. Let's finally fix this. State.walk, state.run. We shouldn't be able to move. Shouldn't be able to move, guys. Let's see here. Let's go into here. And we're probably going to want to run this code here. If current is equal to state.run or current is equal to state.walk, and we're going to enclose this all into that if statement. So if either of these are true, it's going to allow us to move around. So you can see here we can't move. So you can see how cool this is. I'm getting really obsessed with this. Now, one more thing. I keep on saying one more thing, but you may be noticing if you do walk at the side of the wall here, and we'll make this invisible, you may get stuck in it. You might not be able to go up or down. The reason why is because when you move left or right, the sizes of the sprites are not exactly equal. And that's something really important to keep in mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to do OBJ player, and we're going to set the collision mask. And you want to set it to whatever you want, but I still suggest doing SPR player down or one of those. But set the collision mask to anything, and it should fix it. So I'm going to fix it. There we go. So the reason why is because if the hitbox changes, so for example, if a huge box, or the collision box is based upon the size of the player. If, for example, we threw this guy in here, what if we had a sprite that suddenly went from 32 or 64 by 64 to 86 by 86? And it, you know, when we move down, well, it would change to 86 by 86, but it would keep its place, depending whether it was centered or not. And we'd technically be stuck in the wall if we just enlarged our size while we were next to the wall. So that's why it does that. But I'm really proud of this transition. We can use this globally, so we can use this for whatever we want. So we can't move. And yeah, so I'm Ben from Suspendy Studios, and thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.